Well, good morning, everyone. This is Dr. Bill Williams, and today I'm coming to you live with a message of hope on a day that's going to be momentous in history. We are about moments away from the release of some very important information, and so I thought I would start out with a talk on a topic that resonates with me right now in this particular time. It's called a thought, a word, and a drop of water. That means that in the beginning, there was just a thought. There was just a word, there was that first drop of water. And what do I mean by a thought? Well, it's an abstract reflection. This entire segment will be a reflection on where we've been over the last number of years, where we have come from, where we're going. The idea is a constructed mental image. You know, we have thoughts, but we construct them, put them together, and we make an image. And when that thought comes together into an idea, we build concepts, and a concept is a plan conceived in the mind, something that we can wrap our hands around, we can understand it better, because we have dreams. Another construct of the mind is a strongly desired goal. We have a dream for a better future, particularly for our families, for those who come after us. And so we come together as people, as a group, and there's a movement. There's an organized action working towards an objective. So we're talking about an objective, a movement that's afoot right now. And so where did that thought first come from? Obviously, the one that I'm most familiar with, most interested in, and want to speak mostly of is the concept of Onpassive and how it was generated by Mufareh, and became an idea in his mind that he could uplift the world to have a better place, a better situation than what he had seen in business and in the way people were treating other people, how everybody was looking for their own self to be taken care of before they were taking care of others. And so Ash wanted to turn that upside down and create a concept, make a dream for others who had no options, who didn't seem to have the ability to live the dream. We call it the American dream here in America. It could be the dream of a better life anywhere in the world. And so the movement started. 2018, the germ, the thought, the idea. 2019, 2020, the concept, when many people started joining, it became not just a trickle, but a rush of people to join and have the common goal, the common dream. And the movement moved on and moved on. And, you know, it started as a word. A word is just something that it's from time immemorial. In the beginning, you know, was the Word. It says in John 1:1, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God. And so the Word came down to us. It was an inspired thought. Language became part of the capability of mankind. Spoken words first. You know, a baby's first word is Abba. Abba, Abba, means father. Or mama, mama, mother. Baby's first words, Abba. And so it's a simple thing. Words become meaningful, and they start to represent things that we see. They're images first, and then through the oral tradition, we passed on words. We passed on stories. We passed on tales. And it wasn't until 3400 BC that writing actually came into being. And so mankind started taking the words, the oral tradition, and putting it down on paper, on stone, on papyrus. The images that he saw, he drew on the walls of caves, put it down and carved on stone. began writing on paper. The Sumerian script was first created in 3400 BC. We have writing now. We've moved beyond the word. We've moved beyond the oral tradition to creating sentences, poems, plays, essays, the works of Homer and Shakespeare documented throughout history what's happened in the last 2,000 years. Well, these words are not just the only thing that have been put down. People also put down notes. Music has been created to replicate the sounds. And so not only do we have the written language on paper for expressing ideas and concepts, but we also have the language of the soul, which is music. And so we started out with drums, and we moved to horns and then stringed instruments. And it came together, and more people gathered, and more people put together their symphony, their sounds to create a symphony. And so words became sentences, became articles, became books. Simple instruments became ensembles, became symphonies. And so we have more and more ways to express ourselves. The word became language, became information that we can transfer. And when we were able to start transferring information into books, first it was the Gutenberg printing press that spread books from being hand-lettered to being printed. And then when the invention of the computer digitized the information that we could spread, we got websites, we got blogs. We got the ability with artificial intelligence to have translation from one language to another language. We got creation of new language from the machine, ChatGPT. Things are coming in the future, revolutionize what we're doing. So that is the word. Now what about a drop of water? Well, think about the miracle of life. You know, it takes water to have life. And so the miracle of life is that we live in an astrological position in space, that certain distance from the sun, 93 million miles, where water can exist in 3 phases all at once on the same planet. It's not too hot to be totally vaporized as a gas. It's not too cold to be totally solid as an ice. No, we live right in the exact place in space where water is liquid, that phase where life can thrive. And so here we are, a small spot in the universe called Earth, at the correct distance from the sun, in a rotating planet that has magnetism, that has tides, that has climate. We have the things that are necessary for life, but mainly water. And so the life springs from that water. You know, in a single drop of water, you can have 1,000 microorganisms, one-celled animals. But you can also have a single drop of water be just one part of an animal, a mammal, an insect, a bird, a reptile. You know, mankind, we are 97% water. We can't live without the water. So what happens when the water falls? That water vapor turns into rain and falls upon the earth. What happens? Well, it's pretty flat for a while, maybe, but pretty soon if you have a valley, that water starts to flow. It doesn't just sit still, it flows. And it flows down that valley. The valley gets deeper when that water flows stronger. That little drop of water becomes a little stream, and that little stream becomes a river. And the more that river flows, the more it cuts into the earth. The earth becomes a channel where the water flows, and there's a power built up behind that water flow. So what was a single drop of water, when it gets together with a lot of other water drops, becomes a stream and a river and flows through the canyon, creating the channel. The canyon can exist for a long time, just as something that directs the water through the earth. But what happens when a thought comes to a man, or perhaps a beaver, to create a dam? If you could dam up the river and create a pond, you make a habitat. You make something useful, says the beaver. What if you could dam up a river and create something useful, says the man? Well, when I was in the 8th grade back in Auburn High School, I remember doing a project on the Hoover Dam. It always stuck with me how that dam was constructed and what it meant, what it was about. And the idea there was that the Colorado River flowing through the Grand Canyon created a lot of rapids and uncontrolled water flow. It's very powerful, but it was not very useful. And so they decided, well, we're going to dam the river to create a lake. The lake would then be able to be controlled. And so the idea was to control the power of the river. And how were they going to do that? Well, they put on one side of the canyon a large tunnel. And then when they had finished boring the tunnel, they started building half a dam that would protect that tunnel from the water. And as they got the protection layer higher and higher, they began to direct the Colorado River through the tunnel instead of letting it go down the riverbed. And soon the riverbed was blocked off as they continued to build the dam, and all the water was going around what was going to be the Hoover Dam through these tunnels. And as the water was redirected, they had a dry space to work behind the dam to build more solid dam and put in turbines. The turbines were made basically to create something useful for the future. So here we are, we've got the water rising, the lake is filling up, the river is controlled, and more people can do things with the lake behind it for recreation, for irrigation. But the most important part was the creation of a power plant so that the energy in the water could be used for peaceful, useful purposes. Okay, so here we are, the lake is full, the dam is ready to be christened, to be released. The water is going to go through the turbines for the first time. So what do we have? We have a passive body of water, doesn't do anything particularly useful when it's sitting there in the back of the dam. It's passive, it's stored, it's in a preparation stage. But it's fixing to be launched through the turbines, through the tubes that are connected to the power plants that will send the electricity all around the western United States to give power to millions of people, run factories, light homes, heat the homes in the winter, cool the homes in the summer. So here we are, all these potential energies sitting there. They flip the switch. What happens? Turbines start to turn, water's rushing through, electricity starts to be generated, and the power becomes not passive but kinetic. Active power. The active power that will create work, create jobs, create an opportunity for commerce, for enjoyment, for safety. So here we are, the great lake behind Hoover Dam. And what's the analogy for the thought and the word and the drop of water? Well, the potential energy in the lake is exactly like the potential energy right now in Onpassive with the 1.5 million founders and friends who have joined. Some are customers, some are founders. The customers who have come in don't really know what they have yet. The founders who have been paying attention know exactly what they have right now. Their potential energy has been stored for 4 years. As the lake fills up, now Onpassive Lake is full, and the gates are fixing to be opened. We're fixing to start the kinetic energy power plant, O-Connect, maybe today, maybe next week. The launching date of the entire Onpassive project has already started. The launching date of O-Connect could be today. We are looking forward to that at noon. So we will see exactly what we have on Sunday, the next day, tomorrow. So the launch of Onpassive has occurred. The production of energy has been started, and now it's starting to surge out into the community. It's starting to go out across the world and start to transition. So this is the gateway of the digital expansion, the gateway of the ecosystem of Onpassive. And so here in the beginning of the new era of the internet is when Onpassive starts to take off. It was a thought. It was just a word derived from a thought, divine thought. And here it is now. That drop of water is turned to a powerful lake, and we're ready to flow. So it's the music of the future. It's harmony. All the people that make up the founders, all the people that make up the developers in Hyderabad, in Dubai, all around the world who are founders, we're in harmony together, creating the music of the future, a symphony based on all of our individual talents and our dreams. We are a movement. We are Onpassive. Looking forward to a fantastic day. We're going to be able to share with each other all during the time after the major production. We're going to be able to share with each other what we saw, what we felt on the first Onpassive global display with the O-Connect. And then we're going to be able to start to enjoy the fruits of that labor. Everyone who's a founder, who's a member of the team, production team, everyone's going to start being able to enjoy the fruits of the labor, and the dreams will come true from all the years of loyalty and staying true to the goal. So thank you, Mr. Mufareh and your family. Thank you, leadership team. Thank you, developers in Dubai and Hyderabad and around the world. You know who you are. You know what you've done. And we all appreciate you. And we all hope that every dream you have comes true, and that we will, in turn, be able to bless the world, because Onpassive was a thought, became a word, and became a river, a mighty river, with a force behind it that nobody could deny. This is Dr. Bill Williams saying goodbye on Tuesday, the 19th of February. Be an influencer, be a leader, and most of all, be a blessing to someone today.